Hey, Brian, I just throwing it to you. Is there any significance on, I got to double check, but on the backdrop that you have there, because it looks like CenturyLink Field, it's full. I just wonder if that's a theme you got going on.
It's playoffs, baby.
What does it mean for a team like yours to be back here? I mean, you're there every year, but like you said, it's playoffs. What does that mean? What does it mean to the defending champion that it's playoffs?
I think there's a sense of pride, not just from the talking head that always gets in front of you guys, and I always say what I say and how I feel. The sense that I get from that group is that they are immensely proud of 2019. And I will compliment Alex on the little ceremony that we had with the rings a couple weeks ago. When we actually delivered the rings from 2019, there was a bump, there was a buzz at training, and they all had their rings, and you saw what they did on social media and all that. I mean, the players, are extremely proud and want to defend the cup, and they want to, do well in the playoffs. I've never had any issues, Maz, trying to motivate teams when it gets to the playoffs. It's where the big players show up.
And the obvious would be that starts this Sunday, right?
Yeah, the playoffs are now because Sunday's a playoff game.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, obviously these playoffs are going to be a lot different than 19. One of the factors is also going to be the players that are going to be going to Commonwealth qualifiers and how their protocols are going to work. I was able to find out that it seems that Raúl Ruidíaz won't have to do a quarantine. I wanted you to clarify that for me. Or do you know anything about that?
Well, you cut out halfway through your question, Nico. So either give me the question again, or I can say, yes, Raúl will be able to come back and play right away. If that's the answer you're looking, if that's the answer you're looking for. Yeah.
So he doesn't have to do it because he's already had COVID. Is that it?
That is correct.
And Nico, just to clarify, Brian did address this earlier. You might not have been a part of the subsequent or previous, media session. But the answer to your question is, in the eyes of the league and Major League Soccer's medical protocol, he is considered a recovered person, having already gone through the appropriate quarantine.
Perfect. And in terms of obviously not having, Javier and Javier Arriaga, how are you going to cope with that?
I'm going to play the best available team I have on that day. Same as we always do. Next man steps up.
Brian, can you expand a little bit more on it being playoff time now? You had mentioned you and Alex had talked a little bit about being frustrated after the result in, Wednesday. And so can you expand a little bit about the mentality or what you want to get established as far as, making it clear that you guys are the defending champions and your assessment as far as it's being playoff time?
Well, look, you guys heard what I said after the game. You saw what I said after the game. The players feel the same way. I mean, look, this has been a strange year, Jada. It's 2020. I always say that when things don't go the way you think they're going to go, or, whatever, but we're not going to use that as an excuse. Okay. We are going to be the defending champions. We're going to go out and never quit. Like on Wednesday, we're going to come back and always try and win the game, tie the game, whatever. Those are all things that I believe are essential for teams to win championships. Now, the odds are against us because MLS is a league that they want parity. Okay, the rules are such that it's a league that has parity. But if you look at the Seattle Sounders, we've been in 3 of the last 4 championship games. We've won 2 of them, and there's no reason to say why we can't go. And even in a weird year, a year full of challenges, defend our title. 4 games. Okay, count San Jose. It's 5 games left in the year. So why not? Why not us?
With if I can follow up a little bit, with the being able to, or the opportunity to get home field through the Western Conference at least, can you describe what are some of the benefits this season when you don't have fans? That was like the obvious advantage last year. So what are the advantages now besides travel?
Besides travel, well, that was going to be number 2 on my list, Jada. So number 1, you hit it right. You hit the nail on the head. You know, that's your home atmosphere. It's the crowd. It's the energy. It's the buzz. You're at home. You feel it when you walk into the stadium. I mean, the picture I have behind me that Maz noticed was the final. And you could just tell. You walk out on that field and there were 70,000 people and here we go. And you know, that's important. Number 2 is the travel. You know, you get to sleep in your own bed. You have your own routine. You know, you don't have to, you know, sit on an airplane for a couple hours and, you know, stretch every 10 minutes. You know, it's just different. The travel is there. The preparation as far as like some of the details, goalkeeping wise. So each stadium has a little different feel where the lights are positioned, you know, so we're used to how our home field looks and plays, you know, when the goalkeepers are coming out to catch a ball on a cross or a corner kick, you know, there's little nuances there that always make your home field an advantage.
I apologize for not being real clear. Because you don't have the fans. So is it basically the 2 and the 3 that are the only advantages this season because you don't have fans this year?
Well, our fans will be with us in spirit, Jada. I mean, okay. They'll put their banners up. They'll put their signs up in the south end and the north end, and you know, maybe a couple people will be wandering around outside safely with masks on, you know, just to cheer the guys on. I mean, who knows? But they'll always be with us in spirit.
Brian, on that same note, playoffs, I think, are starting about 3 weeks later than, if I'm correct, than I think they've ever started before. Does that, you know, does the weather end up playing? Does the climate kind of play into that? Is that something that maybe is in your favor a little bit, that we're going to be deep into fall and almost winter when the playoffs really get going?
I'll add that as number 4 or 5 on the list of things that I just said. Yes, it definitely, you know, on a blustery, windy, rainy day in our stadium, I think that gives us an advantage.
So, Coach, how can you summarize this season with all the changes in the season, and if there is anything good that this season has left for the team to grow?
Felipe, I will reserve the answer to that question after the season is over, unless you want me to talk about up until now. Because, look, we have one more game. There will probably be a lot of reflection. Probably an asterisk behind, the season because of all the challenges that we faced with COVID and all the other things. So I don't think this season is over yet. I don't think the story is over yet. I think there's still a lot to be written.
Thank you.
If I could ask you a non-soccer question, I'm just curious, what was your experience in terms of taking in the election night? I don't know how you watched it, or if you watched it at all. What's that experience been like for you, just seeing this kind of, I would think, a unique display of politics?
Without getting way out over my skis here, and I'm going to watch Alex's facial expressions as I answer your question, Jeremiah. Yes, I was glued to the TV. I am a proud American citizen. I am disappointed in the entire state of politics, whether you're Democrat or Republican. I mean, politics is just, I'm more middle of the road. I think both sides need to do some work, but I certainly voted on the right side of history, and I'm proud to say that. End of story. And I've been watching, and I've been hoping, and I just hope that people, come together. I think the last president was very divisive, and I believe that we should try and all, set aside differences and try and work and get to work together and for the betterment of the country. That's just what I believe. I'm a big environmentalist. I want to save the planet for my grandchildren. So plenty of reasons why I was watching election night and the last couple of nights, Jeremiah. It's not over yet. So there you go.
Hey, Brian, on that same vein, a lot of you players, Stephen Fry, and there's been others that have immigrated here and taken on that responsibility of being a global citizen, whether it's voting or taking calls, even like Brad Evans, even though he's an American citizen. But what did you just say about your club just being a global citizen and standing up?
It's the club. The club put out a lot of social media about getting out the vote, because look, we are living in the greatest democracy in the world. We get a vote. We actually have power. People have power to vote one way or the other, whichever way they feel. Because look, I might be a borderline Republican. My parents were first generation German immigrants. They worked hard for everything that they got. They were business owners, so it's just testament to, guys like Steph, young Americans like Christian, guys that come over here, and Alan Hinton, he's come over here, he can't vote, but he gets an opinion. Some of the other guys that have, getting their citizenship, to have the right to vote. That's important for them, not just getting your green card to play soccer in this country, but to actually, become a citizen so you can vote. I mean, those are all very important things. And I think our club has always shown leadership in some of those areas. The Black Lives Matter movement, all the rights for LGBTQ, all of that sort of stuff. We've always been in the forefront as an organization to support good, worthy causes.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, going back into the game, we kind of talked about this after the game in terms of making adjustments and getting better in certain parts. What did you see from the video, especially defensively, in this last game against the LA Galaxy?
I think we were fine. I thought we were okay defensively. Like I said, I wasn't concerned. I thought we had control of a lot of parts of that second half. I mean, you guys obviously have seen the acrobatic, save by Alex Roldan off the goal line to help his buddy Steph out. There were some really good defensive moments in that game. And then, there was the one moment where, Chicharito gets the ball between, I think it was JP's legs, fortunate little give and go, a little maybe miscommunication higher up the field that resulted in a goal against us. So, overall it was an okay defensive performance, and, didn't have any issues with it.
Has Miguel Ibarra handled the personal issues that kind of kept them away from that Colorado game?
I can't comment on that, Nico. That's a personal issue, and I don't feel comfortable answering that.
Let me rephrase it. Would he be available for this upcoming game?
I can't answer that.
Oh, gotcha.
Nico.
All right, that's okay.
What about Roman Torres? Is he fine?
Roman Torres is fine.
Okay. And then can you describe, as far as the training goes, and getting prepared for this and that mentality, how has training gone?
Training's been fine. Jada, it's still more physical recovery. So, you know, the trainers, the masseuses, the chiropractors, Adam, you know, this is his time to shine. They do a great job of getting the players physically ready. We'll talk a little bit of tactics tomorrow, but we know San Jose, we've played them enough times, you know, we know how they play. So, you know, the physical preparation is most important.
And with San Jose, and the way that they've been playing, and especially clinching a berth, so they'll be coming in, you know, on a high in a sense. But like you said, you've played against their style. So is it just that things are clicking for them, or do you see anything different in these past few games that's working for them that, you know, that you might have to prepare for more so for Sunday?
I think Mateus Almeida should be in consideration for Coach of the Year. And it's a strong statement, but I believe that because, you know, after that rough patch where we scored a bunch of goals on them and then they had a couple of other tough results, everybody said San Jose's done. They're going to fire their coach. They're terrible. You know, they were dead. And he, true to his own self, true to his beliefs, his playing style, got that team to refocus, regroup, and come back and make the playoffs, which is a tremendous story, a tremendous success. And all credit has to be given to Mateus. He's done a great job. I mean, you know, they believe. If you watch Jada, their celebration after that game, I mean, that's an opponent that a lot of people aren't going to want to face in the playoffs. That's a team that believes in what they're doing.
Hey, Brian, something that kind of came up when I was kind of looking at the last couple games of the season. You've been able to rest, you know, some players, at least, you know, sometime. But Nico hasn't been one of those. Is that something that he just kind of really wants to play every game? Like, how do you go about that? You know, him being such an important player to the team and going into, you know, the playoffs and everything like that.
Well, Christian's a very important part of the team. Jordan Morris is an important part of the team. Who else did I rest? Yaimar is a very important part of the team. Look, Nico is just blessed with tremendous athletic ability and stamina. He constantly runs, you know, 12, 13 kilometers a game. He is a very good professional. He takes care of himself. And, you know, if the, you know, physical guys tell me, hey, you know what, Nico's taking a little bit of a dip in his numbers, then I would look at it. I would say, okay, Nico, how you feeling? What's up? What are you doing? You know, you're sore, hamstring, you know, whatever. But that hasn't been the case. So every player wants to play every single game. For some, it's not possible. Even for Nico, it's not possible all the time. But so far this year, the way the games have been scheduled, you know, he's been fine.
Coach, staying on the subject of wear and tear a little bit, your team's arriving at the playoffs having played 22 games in the quote-unquote regular season as opposed to 34 this year. Does it feel like there's any sort of reduction in terms of overall fatigue and stress, or has the weirdness of 2020 kind of, you know, mitigated that at all?
Andrew, it feels like a long season, like a long year. It feels like Champions League was just yesterday. It feels like we've had 3 preseasons. It feels weird to have, you know, MLS Cup back in December again. It's been a weird year. I don't know if you can quantify it yet. I mean, there's just too many, you know, weird things that have happened, strange, you know. It's been tough.
Coach, how are you? It's Alonso. Coach, Coach, like with your experience with 2 MLS Cup in this 2020 pandemic year, how can you handle those players, the new ones like Ethan, Josh, Shandon, going to the playoff? and a team that when it goes to a playoff goes to win. Like you said earlier, in 3 years you play 2 finals.
Well, I think if I'm understanding your question, the players, the young players, this is a learning moment for them to be in the playoffs. I mean, that was a learning moment for Ethan the other night. I mean, it was a big game. I mean, I thought he did well. He did everything we asked. He worked hard. He was committed. And so when they even are in the training environment leading up into the playoffs, when they see that the level of the senior players is going even a little higher, you know, those are all moments for those guys to embrace, for those guys to be a part of the team, and, you know, to learn from the senior players so they understand that when they get their chance, that they'll understand the expectations, the physical demands, the mental demands of playing in a playoff game.
Brian Wallace, one for you. How's Brad Smith doing?
He's doing fine, Nico. He's good.
Is he looking like a possibility for the upcoming game?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Guys, anything else?
Yeah, I've got another one. Brian, with the data that y'all take of your players, is there anything different as far as Raúl and him being back and after the virus and whatnot? Do you notice anything different in his data that you can share?
No. So you're asking me if Raúl has had a dip or increase because of his COVID diagnosis? No. He has luckily, because it's a horrible disease, he has gotten through that without any, so far, serious physical ramifications. He's been fine. He's been one of those asymptomatic people, and he's one of the lucky ones.
Can you put in context him being able to do that? I mean, obviously from what I know, we're not doctors. So, I mean, can you put that in context? Because obviously the occupant of the White House right now is had it also and wanted to wear a Superman shirt. But then again, you have a person that was, asymptomatic, like Raúl, who, is playing like he did before and maybe even a little better. I don't know, just from my eye. So, I mean, can you put that in context, I guess, is the way that he's able to perform despite having had that virus?
I think what I would say about that is I am not a doctor, Jada, and so I'm not going to talk about the medical side of things, but I'll give you the one storyline of, because you actually have a very astute eye, because Raúl did come back energized. And when I look back and reflect on the Colorado game the other night, that was a team where, they were on short rest and, they were just getting back into playing. And it was actually evident to me, very evident, that the Colorado players had just a sense of joy, just being out back on the field. And that showed in their performance against us. And similarly, when Raúl came back, when he was stuck in a hotel room for, 10, 12 days, whatever that was, and he came back and he was training, and, I think you could see in his mood that he was very happy that the disease did not affect him, and that he was happy to be back with his teammates and happy to be trying to score goals. I think that's what I take from Raúl.
Coach, usually decision day is a celebration with the fans. Is the team going to do anything special for the fans?
You can ask Alex and those guys that. We're going to try and do something special for them, Felipe, by winning.